half in the bag. Jay, why is it us that has to clean up all this fucking glass? It was Mr. Plinkett that did the stupid Bird Box challenge.
The what?
The Bird Box challenge. You know, where people wear blindfolds and try to do everyday things.
Oh, I remember that old fad. That is so first week of January 2019. But you know, Mike, if we don't clean this up, it's just gonna sit here and eventually we're gonna cut ourselves. I mean, Mr. Plinkett's not gonna do it.
It's just so weird for me to be doing work.
Hey, maybe we could take a break from this and go see a movie.
That's a great idea, Jay. What movie would you like to watch?
You know, for some reason, I'm really in the mood to see A Dog's Way Home.
I'm really excited to see Bryan Cranston play a cripple in The Upside.
How about Replicas?
How about Bohemian Rhapsody? It won all those awards, even though a directed it.
Anyway, how about Escape Room?
How about Vice?
On the basis of sex,
If Beale Street Could Talk.
there's always Bumblebee.
It got pretty good reviews for a Transformers film, but what about Second Act?
Welcome to Marwin.
Mary Poppins?
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Mortal Engines.
The Mule.
Wait a minute. The answer has been in front of us this whole time. Why don't we see Green Book? Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Oh my God, I thought you were gonna say Glass after all that buildup, and it wouldn't be a bait and switch.
Double, reverse, triple, bait, and switch!
Fuck yeah!
Fuck everything!
Elijah's changed over the years.
M. Night Shyamalan's new film Glass proved to be a split decision with critics and moviegoers. However, it's doubtful it can top The Sixth Sense's unbreakable box office record. If you've seen the film, you don't need a description. If you've seen the trailer, you get the premise. If you haven't seen the film or the trailer, then why are you watching a review for a movie you know nothing about? Peace out, bye! Mike, what did you think of M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable 2: Split 2?
You split your unbreakable colon in two with a piece of glass? Jay, I loved this film until I didn't.
Really? I think I might be on... I didn't love any of it, but I think I might be on the opposite as far as which part I actually liked.
Well, this movie has bad critical ratings, but good audience ratings, according to the RottenTomatoes.com. And I was watching this film, and I was loving it, about 75%. And I was like, what's the problem here? But then, I thought the ending was a little overbloated and kind of like dissipated a lot of the goodwill that came from the first 3/4 of the movie. So it's a complicated answer.
See, I'm kind of on the opposite end where you see the trailer for this movie, and for most of it, you're getting exactly what you would expect from the trailer, which was kind of surprising to me because it's like, even for better or worse, M. Night Shyamalan movies are very distinct and usually sort of weird. And there's something like he always has like bizarre dialogue that sounds unnatural, and that's not even really a criticism, it's just sort of his style. And this felt so normal. It felt like exactly what you would expect from, like if someone else that isn't him were to make kind of a traditional sequel combining Split and Unbreakable. It's like this has all those things that you would expect from it. You got Sam Jackson kind of pulling the strings and manipulating things because he wants to get things like they are in a comic book storyline, and so it felt very, very normal. And I was like, when's it going to get not normal? And then it gets not normal, and it becomes interesting, but still kind of a failure. So that's kind of like most of the movie. I just kept it felt like he had the kind of conclusion in mind, and I was like, oh, how do I get to that? I guess I'll just have a bunch of wheel spinning until we get to the third act.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the opposite camp because everything in the hospital, the wheel spinning as you call it, I found to be the best part of the movie, the best stuff in the movie. Because I enjoyed Split a lot. Of course, James McAvoy is excellent at doing all these different voices and impressions and actions, character types. I mean, magnificent. Brilliance.
So much so that they give him multiple scenes in this movie that kind of just exist for him to do it.
Sure.
There's a lot of repetition in the first hour or so of this movie.
He's in a film with a man basically pretending to be in a coma and another man in a coma. So Bruce Willis is a wooden block with a head on it.
I mean, it kind of works for this movie. You have to grade Bruce Willis's performances on a curve these days, where it's like, oh, he clearly doesn't care, to, oh, he probably liked the filmmaker, so he's trying a tiny bit.
He cared a little.
This goes on that end.
Yeah. But the end of Split, when it had the true M. Night Shyamalan twist, that the Beast and that whole film existed in the universe of Unbreakable, was like, whoa!
Yeah.
And then when I saw the trailer for this, I was like, oh, neat. All three characters are together. And then the trailer sort of, you have Sarah Paulson. By the way, you got your Sarah Paulson fix.
Yeah.
She does not get hit by a bus.
She doesn't step in
She's
front
in the
of a
film
bus.
much farther than I thought.
Yes.
Much more involved in the film. I thought she was going to be the therapist in the beginning, in the first 15 minutes. That kind of helps them, and then they break out.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the film is like running around, and then she's gone.
Yeah.
But she's integral to the storyline. So you see the trailer, and Mr. Glass is going to become the mastermind. The Beast will be his henchman, and they will fight Bruce Willis.
Yes.
And so going into the movie, I was like, I get it. That's what's going to happen. And I think the first 75% of the movie in the hospital, where it brought up a lot of interesting ideas and concepts about, like, are these guys really superheroes or not? Is it just a mental condition? And I thought all that stuff was fascinating.
I did like that. There's the big scene. It's like the first scene in the trailer where it's all three of them lined up in that oddly pink room. Yeah, and then she starts making them question. I wish they played that up more with Bruce Willis, because there's like one tiny moment after that where he's like, maybe we're not superheroes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, that didn't feel like it was fleshed out enough at that part. But yeah, that entire concept I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it was all very well done.
I love the look of the movie, yeah.
Well, there are so many, and I don't know if this is an M. Night thing, but there are so many different ways that he shot stuff. There's this scene with several characters appear, and it's all shot from a window upstairs. There's traditional back and forth shooting. Then occasionally there'll be some kind of dolly shot. It's all like stylized, like 15 different directors with different visions are making this, and it always catches you off guard, the way.
Yeah.
This
it didn't feel
shot.
like a hodgepodge. That actually all kind of flowed together well.
It made it
which is
unique.
surprising.
Yeah, it made it interesting visually. And that opening too, when Bruce Willis is chasing the teenagers or young guys that trying to make a viral video. They punch a guy on the street, and then it just kind of goes into slow motion, and there's that music, and it was really stylistically very nice, and really great looking movie. But then you come to that midway point, and I didn't hate it. I just felt it became too bloated and full of itself.
That's when we enter M. Night Shyamalan territory.
And spoiler territory.
Well, you said it's about the midway point. It's more like the last 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
Which is, I was hoping it would get, because I kept waiting. I was like, there wasn't anything terribly intriguing to me for the first hour or something, aside from Sarah Paulson trying to put into their heads that maybe they're not really superheroes, which is a very small part of it. There's a lot of stuff with them just kind of in hospital rooms, and it felt kind of tedious and repetitive to me. But we get to the revelation that Sarah Paulson is in charge of an organization that is meant to suppress knowledge of people with superhuman abilities.
Secret society.
A secret society. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it gets very dark. All of our characters die. But then we take this weird turn where all the peripheral characters from all the other movies are now kind of the central force, the driving force of the story. For the last 5 minutes of the movie, we got Bruce Willis's son, which was neat to see him back, by the way.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. They didn't show him in any of the trailers or anything. But it's the same actor. I was like, oh, cool. But it's Mr. Glass's elderly mother and then the girl from Split. I was like, this is bizarre.
The actress playing his mother is younger than Samuel L. Jackson. No, I'm not kidding.
Was it the same actress from the first movie? Because she plays the mother in the flashbacks in Unbreakable. But yeah, in sort of comical old age makeup. So then you have the three of them team up to take down this organization that is meant to suppress people with superhuman abilities, but this all happens in the last like 2 minutes of the movie, and I was like, am I supposed to be happy that they took down this threat that I didn't even know existed until 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, or this threat that was probably useful. It was odd. It was an odd way. Like when Sam Jackson's talking about this, they throughout the movie they're referring to this like new skyscraper that's being built in Philadelphia, right? Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna blow up the skyscraper with their chemicals, and you guys are gonna fight on the rooftop, like just like an end of a comic.
Typical comic book stuff.
And I was like,
up.
Yeah, I'm like. I can't picture that in this movie. They're not making it to that building. And then it sort of ends up like awkwardly, clumsily, like them fighting in the parking lot of the psychiatric hospital. And I was like, okay, this is good. Because the whole movie we're questioning their superhero-ness, right? And they're not going to make it for the world to see. And everything that's basically happening could kind of be explained. Like banging into the car, even when the Beast flips over a cop car, because like there's always those stories like a mother trying to save her child will suddenly have superhuman strength.
Yeah.
So it's all like relatively possible to where someone will go, So I was like, okay, cool. They're all just gonna like, this is just gonna end here in the parking lot, and it's still gonna be a question of whether or not superheroes are real.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with some ambiguity in the end of a movie, especially like this. Mm-hmm. And then like the secret society that hides superheroes, and then like he does an email blast to everyone showing like security camera footage, like with this like, and I'm sure everyone in real life would go fake.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like superheroes are real. And then it's like, yeah, they're waiting in a train station at the end, our 3 peripheral characters.
That was so bizarre.
And it's like, we're gonna tell the world superheroes are real. And it's like, you're not taking down the Matrix, you know, like we've been building towards that 3 films to take down the Matrix.
Well, that's the thing is like this has all been introduced in the span of like 10 minutes, and then oh good, they resolved that threat that I didn't know they had until a few minutes ago. It was weird.
What do you want? I am here to see if tales of the extraordinary being are true. May I meet the Beast?
The individual character stuff was neat, mainly for Bruce Willis and Glass, Mr. Glass.
Sam Jackson, that's the thing is like, you think he's building up this whole thing where, he's getting Bruce Willis to fight the Beast, because that's sort of how the first movie ends, the Unbreakable movie. It's like, I've discovered my purpose. I'm, the evil villain to your superhero. And to find out that he has a larger plan that is actually a little more humane, or a little more about something larger than just this specific character in this situation. It was a nice twist to the Glass character.
Yeah. The Bruce Willis angle of him being fearful of water, was that in the first
That was
one?
in Unbreakable, yeah.
Okay,
they did introduce that.
Like the drowning part?
Yeah.
With the raincoat being a wonderful costume to protect himself from water. I don't remember that, but that's great. That's a great little backstory. Sam Jackson on the tilt-a-whirl, like that was just a really great scene. Not great for him, but in the movie's context, it was a great, powerful scene. And then the backstory of the Beast, and then tying it all with the train, and then it becomes like, oh, he was also on the train, and Sam Jackson.
It starts to become like twists, and then another twist, and then another revelation.
He's such a mastermind. I don't know if he was just bullshitting, or if he, like, he's like, I created you, like your father dying, like. He caused a series of events unknowingly, but it was like, what?
Well, that whole aspect of it also kind of like I was saying, how this feels like a very kind of traditional sequel to Unbreakable in a lot of ways, and that stuff especially reminded me of that, because it's like, oh, this is basically the exact same thing he was plotting in Unbreakable. I was waiting for some new interesting, like the idea that there is this organization that's trying to suppress knowledge of people with superhuman abilities is interesting. That to me, that should have been the movie, but then you don't have the twists. So instead you have lots of scenes in hospitals, and then the twist in the last, quarter of the movie. So it's like most of the movie there is no, it didn't feel like it was building towards anything. So it didn't feel like there was any sort of threat. until there finally was, and then it's resolved right away.
Well, I mean, it was building to the fact that Mr. Glass and the Beast were going to break out.
Sure, but I didn't
and
really
do-
care about that.
Well, I mean, they're your villains, and they were going to get out and do, super villainy things. And I think that was his way of pulling a twist on you.
Yeah, that was the front, is that you think it's going to be
You
completely...
think they're going to get out, and the Beast is going to wreck the grand opening of this high-rise, kill a bunch of people, and Glass is going to go, hoo-ha.
Yeah. So when you realize that's not what it is, to me, it's kind of like the ends didn't quite justify the means. Not a bad movie by any means. I wasn't miserable watching it. It was nice to see some of these characters again.
I really enjoyed the three characters in the hospital stuff. I thought that was all the best stuff.
Well, I kept waiting too with all the peripheral characters. I mean, they ultimately did serve a purpose, but they introduced the girl from Split. And I remember seeing the trailer and I was like, why does she need to be in this?
Yeah.
Who really cares? And then Bruce Willis' son. They have a lot to do in the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
And then they kind of disappear for a while. And then they show up again and they're just kind of on the sidelines of all the final action.
Yeah.
And then they have something to do. But I was just waiting for it to be revealed that the Anya Taylor-Joy, the witch girl. I kept waiting for the revelation that she has superpowers. I was like, they're going to do it. But they didn't do it, so.
That would be in a Marvel film.
Instead, she uploaded videos to the internet.
She had, I liked the little, I guess, Stockholm Syndrome-esque connection with her and, what was his real name?
Kevin?
Kevin?
Yeah.
That was a nice, those little character stuff, the people that connect to the superhero. Sam Jackson's mom, the witch girl, and Bruce Willis' son. They all need that superhero character in their life for some reason. They're connected to them. And them, the superheroes, trying to decide whether or not they really are superheroes or they're crazy. All that stuff was good. And it was well written and it was well shot and I loved it. And then the kind of, I gotta have my twist. I gotta have this muddled ending. And the ending itself was muddled, not just in the plot, but in the spatial relationships of what's happening. Because at some point, the SWAT teams show up, the police are there, and then
they're kind of not for a while.
Then they're not for a while, and she, you don't get those, you don't really get a big picture of what's happening. It's where's Bruce Willis? I don't know.
Yeah.
She's talking to James McAvoy, and then a sniper shoots him. What?
Yeah. Well, and then they reveal the arm of the sniper. He's got that little tattoo. I was like, what is that going to be? Is this going to? But then they
that
never
was that
really.
shot, and it went down.
Yeah,
and
they
showed
never.
her.
I don't know if that's a setup for some other movie or what, because they never
Yeah.
really reveal who that is. But they make a point multiple times of showing that tattoo.
It's a little clover.
Yeah.
Clover.
You wanted to say Cloverfield,
I
didn't
did,
you?
yeah. It's part of the Cloverfield universe. I didn't know, and then I guess that shot implied that Sarah Paulson gave the order to kill.
Sure.
Because in a few scenes later, one of the guys is holding Bruce Willis's head in a puddle of water.
Well, that's the guy with the tattoo. Yeah.
Yeah, and so.
They're all actually
where
part of this
are
organization.
other people? Where are the cops?
Yeah.
The real cops. Are they okay with this man drowning this other man
Yeah.
in broad daylight right there?
I think the idea is that they're all Sarah Paulson's people, but they make a point of all the inmates of the asylum.
keep
They
them
say
away.
go to the other end of the building so
out
they
the
don't look out the
windows.
windows. It's like,
She's trying to erase all the evidence.
Yeah. But if you have to orchestrate all this every time you have a situation where you have to suppress the knowledge of superheroes, it's a little, and it's not like Men in Black where you can just point a thing and make everybody around you
Yeah.
forget. So
Yeah, because how often does this happen? And those SWAT guys got there real fast.
yes.
So do they sit in a warehouse in SWAT gear, just waiting
Yeah.
for the 1 in a quadrillion chance that 3 superheroes will fight with each other in a parking lot?
Yeah. Well, that'll be what the next movie's about.
Just waiting?
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan said, this movie, 90% of it is just people sitting in hospital rooms. The next one I got to make more boring.
Yeah, because really, I think that's where my confusion comes in, because she calls emergency services and says, I need police, and and it's not code speak. It's
Yeah.
not Cloverfield Society. We have a, I guess she says we have a code 3 at one point, but that's not clear. We have a we have a super situation. A 318692XJ situation. Like super code.
Yeah.
Where you know there's something fishy about that super code. I don't know.
Yeah, she just kind of talks into a phone.
Yeah,
It wasn't any sort of like...
I need police and emergency services here. But maybe that's how they're so secretive. They're really, they have their meetings in restaurants.
Yeah,
They own the whole restaurant. Even the wait staff is in this society
apparently.
because they heard it all.
But they still allow random customers to come in, and they just act like they're chattering until those customers leave.
Oh yeah, they closed the door
It's very weird. Why not just have a meeting in a warehouse somewhere?
because they're so secretive.
They always underestimate the mastermind.
I was satisfied with it up until the very end when I was just like, eh. So some ending, like I said, that was just simpler
Yeah.
would have satisfied me. And definitely the email blast informing the world.
Well, it was played so emotional too. Like
Yeah.
the music was
Yes.
building, or like, yay, they got him. I didn't know they were a threat until just now, but they got him. It was bizarre. And then you cut to the end credits, and it had that weird music that was so repetitive. It's just da 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 da, like over and over for 10 minutes.
The society of suppressing superheroes isn't a threat to regular people. I mean, I guess maybe.
Well, all they're doing is revealing to the world that these people exist and they don't need to hide anymore, but they didn't know they needed to hide.
Mr. Glass didn't,
No.
and Rage Monster certainly didn't.
No.
He was just doing his thing. The only one was Bruce Willis.
That's why it's so weird that you would introduce this organization out of nowhere.
It's an okay idea.
It's the only interesting idea in the movie for me, because all the lead up, I mean, I guess you could say it's all character driven, but all the stuff with them in the hospital, I was just waiting. I was like, when is something going to happen?
I mean, it's basically the premise of X-Men.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was thinking about X-Men. I was like, this is a more boring X-Men. But the idea is interesting of doing like a super stripped down version of that, where everything's really grounded and real. But he already did that with Unbreakable.
I think that's why Split worked, because it was just a simple movie.
Yeah, well, and then I think we even talked about this when we talked about Split, but the Bruce Willis reveal at the ending, it's like, oh, that kind of recontextualizes the movie, and that's neat. That's all we need. Like, we don't need this Glass movie. We got it. It's okay, but
I liked it. I liked the idea of the three of them in a hospital together, and a breakout at the end, and a fight in a parking lot, and then some kind of conclusion.
yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it just got a little clunky at the end. A little overstuffed.
Yeah.
That's all.
They didn't introduce something from another M. Night Shyamalan movie, thankfully.
Mark Wahlberg shows up. The planet's trying to kill us.
You guys uncovered this organization, but now we got to worry about the plans. Oh no.
What? No.
So, Mike, would you recommend Glass?
Probably. Why not?
All right.
So despite the bad twist ending, the overall film itself, I think the three lead performances I thought were great.
Yeah.
Especially James McAvoy doing his thing, and Bruce Willis dealing with his past trauma. Am I a superhero or not? Good stuff.
And also dealing with his desire to take a nap.
And then,
That's why they put that hood on him, so he can cover his eyes, so in wide shots he can just be sleeping.
he's on strings. Jay?
Mild recommendation. I mean, if you liked Unbreakable and Split, you get more good character stuff with all those characters. Like I said, it was nice to see Sam Jackson back in this part.
If you liked Unbreakable and Split, you gotta finish it. If you like Unbreakable and Split, you gotta finish it. It's the last film and you saw the first two, so why not see the third? If you like Unbreakable and Split, well then you gotta finish it. Bom bom. That's the TV commercial.
Do you think we can get them to use this in the marketing for the film?
We're gonna make our own ad.
Okay.
How did my chorus go? If you like Unbreakable and Split, well then you gotta finish it. It's the last film and you saw the first two, so why not see the third? If you like Unbreakable and Split, well then you gotta finish it. It's the last film and you saw the first two, so why not see the third? If you like Unbreakable and Split, well then you gotta finish it. Bom bom.
Good for you.
Rated PG-13.